Hi guys, welcome to today's YouTube video, and I am going to be showing you how I make Gary the snake from Zootopia in cake. Now, apologies, this is my first video back for quite a while, but I'm very excited to be showing you this one, so let's get into it.
So for the base for Gary, I've got a cake board and I've made myself an internal structure. Now, I apologize, I haven't gone into great detail in this video about the internal structure. I've been trying to put a lot in my subscription service for you guys about internal structures and how you plan out and make the cakes internally, but everything does need to be made sure it's food safe and nice and firm to hold up the cake. We're not going to make him fully in cake in this one. We're going to use some Rice Krispie treats as well. So I've got Rice Krispies and marshmallows, about an even mix of both, and we're going to mix them together. Now, I don't think we're going to need loads of these, but to stick them to like our internal structure, which is that cake board with it's got a metal rod through the middle, and then you see that's a hollow plastic dowel that's over that, and then I've covered the rest in sort of tin foil. The Rice Krispies won't stick on their own, so we've melted marshmallows, and we're just going to kind of put them on there so that it's got something to grip onto. Like I say, if not, the marshmallows, when we add them, will just slide off, but hopefully this will make it nice and sticky. Okay, so my Rice Krispie treats are going to be squeezed on around here. Now, I want to keep them thicker at the bottom, and they want to get thinner as they come kind of further up his neck. I want to make sure I pack them in really tightly. And once they've had a little bit of time to firm up, which for me was probably about half an hour, it could take longer or less time depending on what the weather's like where you are. But once they're firmed up, I carved them down to make them a little bit smoother because I didn't get them nice and smooth by squeezing them on. And then what I'm doing is I'm covering this in a layer of chocolate ganache. And I'm going to try and scrape it so it's a little bit smoother, just using a flexible smoother. Now, I think this looks about right. It's a bit weird looking at the moment. I am completely cheating and I'm just going to use some ready-made sponge cakes because I want it to be at least 14 inches across. Can you see my cake board has got a little bit sticking out? It's the end of the tail, but I'm still going to use another 14-inch drum just to draw around on this cake. So I want my cake to be slightly bigger than my cake board. So we will have a little bit of overhang. If we go too much bigger, the cake will collapse over the edge of the board. So we do have to be careful and watch out for that. So it's from Sweet Success. I'll put details for the cake below the video for anyone that is actually interested in that. But a 14-inch cake, I don't have a 14-inch tin, and it would only just, I think, fit into my oven. Okay, so this is going to have to go around that neck that we made earlier. So I'm cutting it not quite in half. I've cut it slightly to one side because his neck is to one side of my original structure. And then what I'm doing is I'm cutting out like a little semicircle from each side there. We might save that because maybe that can become part of his body later on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this baseboard in some buttercream. Now, I dyed it kind of like a slightly bluey turquoisey colour, and I'm just placing my cake onto there. Like I say, it will stick out slightly from the board, but as long as it's not too much, it should be okay. Then I underestimated completely how much buttercream this would take. I think I used my whole batch of buttercream for just this one first layer, so I had to go and make some more. So can you see, I've done the same again with that second layer. We've cut it out in the same way, but I put the cut kind of put it in half in the opposite direction. Once that's on, I'm going to work on trying to cut it to a curve. So we've curved off sort of the top angles and also kind of rounded it at the bottom. I've kind of trying to make it look almost like a rubber ring shape at the moment, but I've kind of gone up at an arch. Or would you say an arch? No, it's not an arch. It's a curve, almost like a slope going up and around a hillside. Okay, so you can see I've not completed the whole of him just yet, just a bit, and then I'm going to put some ganache on there. But once we've done that, we're on to the next layer. So another bit of buttercream going on there. And I was going to use my sheet cake, but actually I decided I would use a round sponge cake. I've kind of cut it in half, but at a slant, and then I'm going to put it on here. Now, I have printed off a picture of Gary, which you can just about see at the side of my screen, and I am using that as kind of guidance for where I should put all these coils. I could have just done like a plain coil that was like just a perfect circle, which probably would have made my life a bit easier. But I was trying to get it as much like the image that I'd found of him as possible. And do you remember how earlier I did those kind of half spheres that we cut off with the little cookie cutter? I decided I would try and place those together on here. Now, actually, it gives me quite a good shape. I did have to cut more out of the remaining bits of sponge cake that were at the side. For cutting it, I think it's probably it has made it more difficult. I know later on when I cut the cake, it does make it a little bit more difficult to cut because of the way up they are. But it will be fine. And I'm going to cover that in a layer of chocolate ganache, which you can see I overheated. And instead of just fixing it and putting a bit of cold cream or cold milk in to try and bring that ganache around, I just tried to kind of cope with it instead of just remixing it. Okay, it tastes the same. I just was too impatient. So the sticks that are in there are just to hold it in place until this ganache sets, because when you overheat it, it takes a bit longer to set. Okay, so we'll keep going till he is ganached everywhere.
Hi guys, I just want to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor of the video, which is me. Is that cheeky to sponsor your own video? You know how people have those adverts in the middle. Anyway, I wanted to put in a little advert just to let you know that we now have subscription service available where you can become a member of the Zoe's Happy Cakers. So I'll put a link below in the description and you can check out more on that. And this is one of the most recent tutorials that is in there, as well as behind the scenes footage of different bits and pieces that we've done on our YouTube channel. Okay, back to the video.
Let's have a look at covering him. Now, I couldn't decide between modelling chocolate or fondant. I think I'll use a texture matte. Just looking at the colour of him for how to do it. Texture matte was probably a bit small for here and won't quite work on the front, but we might be able to use it for some bits. And I'm thinking maybe a mix of these two colours, although modelling chocolate is slightly yellowy, so it might change the colour anyway to be a bit more greeny. Yeah. So can you see I've got a mix of the white fondant. I've used the Saracino. Now, actually, guys, I do have an affiliate link which gets you 10% off all the Saracino products. So I'll put that below the video, and if anybody does want it, in fact, I'll tell you what it is in the video anyway. It's Happy Cakers 10 on the Saracino website for anybody that will be buying products with them. You might as well get your 10% off. So the colour is mixed in. I want to keep it pretty light, and I think what we'll do is we'll use this texture matte for the back of the neck. But I'm going to roll out that fondant, or fondant and modelling chocolate mix. So it's about half and half. We'll wrap it around the neck first, and then I'm just going to try and cut through both pieces where it goes around the back. And I have rubbed it slightly, which I apologise I didn't show you, but then I'm going over it with the texture mat, trying to push in and also hide that seam. I did find it a bit awkward to use the texture mat. It's easier to use the texture mats if you are rolling onto the texture mat rather than pushing the texture mat on this kind of awkward shape. But it still worked all right for it. I'm still pretty pleased. And then we're going to put some lines across. Can you see for kind of like the front of him? I don't know whether you call it his chest or not, because like the front of his body, that's what it is, isn't it, on a snake? Okay, and kind of almost like zigzag lines down the edge. Okay, so the top, I'm not putting cake in. I just decided it wasn't worth putting cake in that little bit. So we're going to put a little bit of pink icing on between the cards. And that is just a cake card kind of folded in half that I've put up for the face. And then what I'm going to do is take two balls and we're going to roll them so they're kind of still chunky in the middle and a bit thinner on each end. So the two balls squished on even, they will become like his cheeks. We're going to put a piece that's just kind of plain colour of modelling chocolate under for the bottom of the chin. And we want a nice big flattened circle of pink for the tongue, although I did kind of make it more like almost like a flat strawberry shape with a little line down the middle, and that will just go in there. And we're adding some little pieces, can you see, to the side of the mouth as well. So you can see now where it is just modelling chocolate on here. I decided that it was going to be easier to just push the modelling chocolate on and then we can cover over it later. Now, before I get too far on, I decided I would add a little bit of a deeper pink into the mouth for a bit of shading. And this is just edible powder colour I'm using. And then I went a little bit dark with a little bit of black. And I apologise, I don't think I got it in shot, but I added a piece of paste. Can you see for the nose? Just a small piece of paste that I pulled down to kind of create that weird little wavy shape for his nose. And we'll go back to the face in a bit. We'll let it firm up. So while that's firming up, I've rolled out my fondant and modelling chocolate mix. And it took me ages to decide whether I should just cover the whole thing in one piece or if we should do it in individual pieces, kind of patched together. And I decided it would give me more time to work on it and push scale impressions in if I did it a little bit at a time. So my aim is to start sort of at the top of the coil, or the bit that kind of joins to his neck. So any extra I'm going to kind of cut off from around there. Now I'll still keep hold of that fondant even though it's got a bit of modelling chocolate, not modelling chocolate ganache, but I probably won't roll it in to the next bit that we'll roll out. Okay, so scales. You can put these in by hand. You don't even have to put these in if you don't want to, but I thought it would be nice if you had the scales. So you have to get the scales in before it has time to firm up. Now it's pretty cold in here, so the modelling chocolate was setting pretty fast, so I did have to work quickly. Otherwise, it would have just been so much harder for me to push those scales in. Okay, so before I forget, let's add some modelling chocolate to the end of the tail. This bit was too thin to really put any cake in, so let's get that on there, that can set. And I am continuing now to go around the rest of the cake. And at the moment, it kind of looks a little bit scruffy, but I don't think you'll notice when it's all painted up. So it will take a while to put in all these scaling prints. You could go back to using that texture mat, but the print wasn't big enough or the scales weren't big enough. So I kind of just created my own little tool here that kind of just created the shape for me, and I just pressed that in throughout. Although I didn't get quite the neatest finish that I would have liked. So once that's done, I'm going to go back up to the face, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thin layer of the modelling chocolate and fondant mix, so the same as what's gone on the body, and I'm going to put it on thinly around the face. Now, again, because of it setting so quickly, I'm just going to do the bottom half of the face first. We'll put texture in, any lines, any scale marks, all that kind of thing before we move on to the top. So we're going to put some light little indentations in. And some little scale marks. Again, I'm just drawing these ones by hand. You could swap to using the mat if you want, a mould texture mat. Okay, so once you're happy with that, we can do the same on the top. So a thin layer going over the top, let it drape down, and then I'm going to try and cut the edge top part of the mouth to that nice kind of curvy shape. So I'm constantly looking at my template or picture that I've printed off so that I can see that. And I put him in some nostrils. Now, I actually think he might have another little kind of hole or dot. I don't know much about reptiles. A little bit further along from his nostril, which I kind of started adding, but then I don't think you really saw it by the end of what I had done. But again, some more little scale marks. These ones kind of look more like crocodile skin. Do you know what? I've actually got a crocodile skin mat. I don't know why I didn't use it. I actually had forgotten that I'd got it. And then more scales as we kind of come up, getting kind of bigger as they come up the cheeks. Now, for the eyes, I rolled two kind of egg shapes in yellow modelling paste. And we're just placing those on. So I've taken some modelling chocolate, I've dyed it a deeper blue, and I've put it, can you see kind of up the middle of those eyes? So the eyes kind of squish this blue bit in the middle, and then we can kind of work around it, adding or building up kind of the eyelid area. I think it's his eyelid. Do snakes have eyelids? I don't know. Like I say, I don't know much about snakes. But I'm pressing that on, make sure it goes down all the way down at the back of the eye as well, but leaving a lot of the front of the eye out to show. It looks like he's got little wrinkles under his eyes. I think that's okay because I think he does in the picture. And then we're going to draw in with a Dresden. I'm using a metal one, but you can use a plastic one, whichever one you prefer. I'm going to just push in some more kind of scale marks. And you can see the scales look very different shape-wise on like the eyes or around the eyes compared to like the cheeks and the rest of the body. They're much easier shape-wise around the top edge of the eye. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is add some colour, and I have got a mix of powdered edible colour, and I have just mixed it with some dipping solution. So you can use clear alcohol, rose spirit, just make sure it is all edible. And the more you water it down with your powder colour, so the more watery it is, obviously the more it'll drip, so just watch out for that. But the more it will run into, can you see those little lines that we drew for those scales? And the ones in the mould, so it should look a little bit darker in those areas. I'm just using a piece of kitchen roll to catch any bits that are dripping. Also, by wiping the bottom bit, it makes the bottom part of the snake look a bit paler, which he is anyway at the bottom of each kind of coil. So I will just do that over the whole thing. You can kind of see it drips down as I do it. But yeah, and I'll just build up the colour, adding another layer if I want it to be a little bit darker. I don't want to go too dark because when I add shading to it later, if I go too dark at this point, it's just going to be harder to see all the shade in it. But again, up to you. There's loads of different ways you could do this. So this was the way I went for colouring it in. And I think I used the royal blue rainbow dust powder in the end for this one. And I diluted it down even further for around the nose area because I want it to be really kind of diluted. It could be a bit darker on his cheeks, but also, again, really diluted. Can you see as we're coming down this bit, down the front of his chest? And I'm not painting everywhere down there, just kind of below each line, so it almost looks more like shadow than sort of the colour of him. So can you see around the lips of him are kept a little bit lighter in colour, and we're just going to add some shading to the pink there with a little bit of black, a little bit of black in the nostrils. So this is just the powder colour, the edible powder colour that I'm just putting in those nostrils. And it's a little bit dark just around the outer edge. So what I'm doing is taking a wet brush and just wiping off some of the blue colour from around the edge of the nostril. So it takes sort of a couple of goes of going over with a slightly damp brush to get that colour to come back off. And then what I'm going to do is go back to the body, which has started to dry a bit, because if you're using a clear alcohol or dipping solution, it should evaporate pretty quick. And what we're going to do is kind of darken any areas with just the powder on its own. And then anywhere that we want to lighten, I am going to draw on with. Now, in case you're wondering what I'm using, this is an edible oil pastel. So this is one of Miko's range of edible pastels. And I haven't had much chance to use them yet, but it was really perfect for what I wanted to do here. I'll try and put a link below the video to them. I think it's made by Sugar In, but I know that they're designed sort of by Miko, who you might have seen on the TV on Is It Cake and a few other various cake shows. Okay, so as well as that line, can you see I'm going on to the edge, sort of the pointy edge of each of my scales? Now, you don't have to do this if you don't have like loads of time on your hand. I didn't spend ages on this, but basically anywhere that I wanted the light to kind of catch on with, I coloured it in with this. And like I say, this is an edible oil pastel, not like a real oil pastel. Please don't just pick up a normal one. But you can blend them out with your finger quite nicely, these. So if it looks too dark in colour, you can blend your finger through it. And it just makes it look like really nicely kind of shaded rather than a solid line. And then anywhere that I want to darken, I am actually just going to draw in a little bit more with an edible pen. These ones are the Fractal edible pens. You can use the dark blue or the black. Okay, so I think it's coming together. You can see I did just a little bit of blue just on the bottom of sort of the bottom coil of him, just to make it a little bit darker. And then what I wanted to do is try and roll some shapes like this for the eye. Okay, so starting with the ball, just rolling it between your hands. It wants to be thinner at each end, and then I'm going to flatten it. Now, these two were too big, so I made them again a little bit smaller. Let's see what these look like. Okay, so I drew on the iris. I decided I was going to go with a black edible pen. I couldn't quite work out from the images what colour his iris was. I Googled it, and it said it was like an olive colour. But yeah, I used the black pen, so it might not be quite right, but I think it looks okay. I still need to go see the movie as well. I feel like if I'd been to see the movie, I would know better about his eye colour. I haven't had time yet. Probably by the time you guys watch this, I will have got round to watching it because I am very excited about it. But yeah, a little bit of white in each eye. And then all that's left to do, I think, is just give him his fangs. So I've rolled it nice and thin, and we're just going to push it up into the roof of the mouth, sticking it with a little bit of water. I've made a huge mess in the background, as you can see. But there you go. I could have spent longer on him doing all his scales and getting the shading right. But he's a cake, and I don't want to spend too long on him that, you know, he's going to have been sat there for ages. So I did do him over a couple of days. Not solid, though. It was a little bit quicker than that.
Okay, let's cut into him. I don't want to cut him.
Here we go. So he actually cut reasonably well. The blue colour is extremely strong and kept going on everything. So I think that while I love it, and everybody did eat this, well, I don't think, I know. It turned everybody's mouths blue. It also turned my fingers blue every time I touched the piece of cake. And when I cut it, some of the blue food colouring kind of dragged through the sponge cake. I don't know if you can really tell on there or not. But yeah, there we go.
So thank you so much for watching, guys. Sorry I haven't done any new videos in a while, but hopefully you enjoyed this one. And of course, don't forget, I've now got behind the scenes footage in my members subscription service, which I'll put details of below the video, but you can find that over on my website. And that's like a monthly membership where you get lots of new tutorials, videos, and a lot of behind the scenes of my YouTube videos, especially when it comes to kind of making internal structures and that kind of thing, because I often get asked for a bit more information on creating those. So yeah, check that out if you would like to, as well as my other online classes, and hopefully I'll be online again soon with another YouTube video.